Yeah, hello.
I'm calling the tattle. There's a really loud party next door, and it's bothering me. It's really bothering my wife and really everyone in the Ice Kingdom.
Is this DJ Rusty?
This is DJ Rusty. Yes, sorry.
Well, it's okay.
No,
I don't like you very much anyway. So,
well, we hate you.
Well, we hate you.
I love that scene. That is my tops for this episode. Let's just get that out of the way.
Get it out of the way that we are reviewing season 5, episode 18, Princess Potluck, which is it's a fun one, man. It's fun.
Yeah.
I think it takes it. I've got some a walkthrough here. It's very much back to like your season 1, season 2 Adventure Time roots.
It feels early. It feels very early, and I went back and watched part of the Duke. Because we have a little bit of a Duke reference.
Yeah,
callback in this episode. And I was like, man, they feel so like the vibe is there. And I love this vibe. I'm so glad that we're having an episode that just feels natural. It feels like Adventure Time. It's not like an amazing episode, but it was fun. I enjoyed this episode a lot.
They had some cool aspects to it because I feel like I got kicked into this episode, and one of the first jokes is the bounce house princess joke, where she's like, "You want to come inside me and bounce around a little bit?" And like,
yeah,
and I was like, "Okay, there we go." That's the season 5, probably one of the most blatant innuendos we've gotten so far.
It is. It's almost too obvious, and I almost was like, "Do we even mention this?" I mean, she does the eyebrow raises and stuff. Like, it's clearly
no. We need to mention it.
It's meant to be. Okay,
we need to mention it. Well, the other thing that like I hope that you caught up on is that Jake wearing the spiral makeup and Finn having no sock on is actually this is the event leading up to BMO Noir. So remember how in BMO Noir, BMO's hunting for Finn's lost sock that was stolen by Lorraine. Lorraine has the lipstick on. Jake has the lipstick all over his face. And when they start BMO Noir and Finn and Jake come back, Jake has got the smeared makeup all over his face, an arrow in his head, and Finn is carrying the sea lard. So these two episodes are somewhat like connected.
How long ago was that episode?
It was early season 5. It feels longer for us.
It feels like season 3 for some reason. Okay.
Wait, actually, was it season? No, it was late season 4. That's probably why. Because we did all of Fiona and Cake in between.
Interesting. They're playing with the timeline a little bit. I don't know if I like that so much, but cool.
Well, then I was like, okay, so we've jumped back in this timeline. It's good to know. Okay, like Flame Princess isn't here. She didn't receive the invite, and Finn didn't bring her or ask to bring her, so they don't even have reference or mention of Flame Princess. So I saw deeper, and I'm one is like, okay, is this a purposeful thing? And yes, it was actually Princess Potluck was a proposed like written storyboard when Penn Ward and the team was like proposing this show to Cartoon Network. So they had like drawings and pitches and like character design, like this is Finn. He is like crazy and serious. And this is the Ice King and this is the Lich. And I think they had like 5 or 6 like kind of, this is I want to read it because it's a really cool like Adventure Time thing.
There's no heroing in this episode though. Like you're leaving out the adventuring in this episode. I can't believe this was a pitch. You know, I don't know.
I mean, there's a little bit. I mean, but remember back to season 1, like we have, like we kick off with like the Lumpy Space episode too, where it's just like, and that's a little heroing.
Episode, you have the zombie attacks, and then you have the Enchiridion. You know, like there are heroic moments very early in Adventure Time. I'm surprised that this was an episode that maybe, I mean, they clearly didn't produce it in season 1, you know,
it was obviously made late. I think what they did is by season 5, you know, we're getting into the more canonical stuff and then the deeper stories. So I do think probably some of the writers were like, okay, well, let's dig up some of these concepts that we had when we made the show. So like, this will take like 2 seconds here, but I think it's worth reading that like this is the proposed episode just written out before the show was ever made. So a Princess Potluck. All the royal families of Eve get together and have a potluck picnic in the grassy plain with Finn and Jake. The Ice King gets steamed and he discovers there's a royal shindig going on without him. He flies over to spoil everyone's fun. The party goers talk about how brave Finn is to his embarrassment while the Ice King rides. Sorry, this is like some of the letters are cut off. Rides behind a log, listening for any gossip. Hides behind a log, listening to any gossip about him. Finn calls him a sourpuss, and he goes, "A sourpuss am I?" The Ice King lets loose a wave of lemon-headed kitties to ruin the picnic. The lemon-headed cats run amok. They upset tables and shred the picnic blankets. Finn and Jake wrangle up the lemon cats and squeeze some lemonade out of them, foiling the Ice King's small-time plans for revenge. Some lemon squirts into Finn's eye, and he begins tearing up. Everyone begins to console him. He goes, "I'm not crying, it's the juice," he protests. Finn shies away from the crowd. The Ice King laughs hysterically at Finn's humiliation. Jake strolls over to the Ice King to have a heart-to-heart conversation with him. He explains that 1, he was invited to the picnic, and 2, people would like him if he wasn't so much of a patoot. The Ice King sits quietly on the picnic table and eats some peach salad. Everyone is proud of him for not being a patoot. He is welcomed with open arms. Then he tries to steal a kiss from Marceline. I'm glad they cut that part out. Mm-hmm. He's shouted down by all the picnickers and becomes enraged. The Ice King casts a spell that encases the picnic in a giant lime jello. Finn and Jake are suspended like grapes. They slide across the grasslands like slimy glaciers heading towards the fire pits of the Burning Lands, which I think they now call the Fire Kingdom. The only option is to eat their way out, but Jake and Finn have filled up on ambrosia salad. Jake turns to Finn. There's always room. Jake inhales the entire jello glacier just as they reach the precipice. The potluck guests cheer. The Ice King refuses to admit defeat. He makes all the food come alive and run amok. Geez, the Ice King is a total nutmeg Nancy. Finn and Jake tussle with the rebellious food. Princess Bubblegum ends hostilities, pointing out that the food is not evil, it's just trying to make nice. She shakes hands with a donut. The picnic ends in a joyous dance with all the animated food. That is so sorry, a little long, but I was like,
chaotic.
That's how they were pitching the show. And it makes way more sense why this episode ended up in a slotted where it was in season 5, you know?
Yes. Yeah. And I like a lot. Well, first off, for the pitch, from what you just read, and also thinking about this episode as it is, like, it does show the characters' relationships fairly well. You know, you get to learn a little bit about Jake, a little about Finn, how they connect, how they are together, how they play, and then Princess Bubblegum and how she's kind of in charge of, like, it.
Yeah, how she can, like, take charge. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, Ice King, and how Ice King is kind of an antagonist, but not really a serious antagonist. But I do think it fits better in season 5, where we know Ice King, and even at the end of season 4, like, we know Ice King, we know he's not the big bad of Adventure Time. Like, he's no longer the season 1 Ice King that you actually do get in a moment in this episode, or like toward the very end, right, where he's like, if only there was some magical way I could disrupt their party. And he goes, wait a second, I'm the Ice King. I can be crazy. I can be mean. And he does try and completely destroy their party with ice powers. And that was like just a little touch of season 1 Ice King.
Yeah.
But he's not that anymore. And clearly, as soon as he found out that he had gotten an invite, he was chilling. He's like, I just want to party with y'all. Let's party. And Princess Bubblegum, like, they're not like head to head fighting or nothing. Like, I mean, clearly Finn and Jake aren't going to do anything. They're not doing anything to stop him other than putting a smelly sock on his nose.
Yeah.
Which is completely harmless.
Yeah, that was harmless. And then the big thing, I mean, Ice King is upset that he's not invited, but he's like, he references is like, Finn and Jake, my bros. I can't believe that they, like, didn't invite me. Like, they didn't invite me themselves.
His roll dogs for life, dude. His roll dogs for life.
Roll dogs for life, baby. Well, the sad part.
That's us, man. We're
roll dogs.
Roll dogs for life.
I thought it was, though. It is kind of sad, and it's why it's more fitting in season 5 that, again, we just had this Simon and Marcy episode like a few weeks back where he's also, like, still doesn't, like, think Marceline actually likes him. And she's like, you big dummy. I like hanging out with you. Like,
yeah.
And that's kind of, I think it brings up that sad point of the Ice King again. It's just like, no matter how many times Finn and Jake, like, he's annoying. He's like kind of the annoying guy, but they, like, are friends with him now, that he always comes back around as, like, no one likes, or like, these are my bros in his mind, but he's also like, somewhat still sees himself as an outsider. Like, I wasn't invited, so I have to ruin their party.
Yeah, and I think it's really understandable. I feel like I kind of in a way relate to Ice King in this episode a little bit because of exactly what you just said. I mean, we talked about it a little bit on our Patreon. Was it the last episode we recorded when we were talking about college? No, 2 episodes ago.
2 episodes ago, yeah.
We were talking about college, and talking about like trying to fit in and feeling like you don't really fit in. And Ice King in this episode, as you mentioned, like he does fit in. He's a part of the game now. And he still has these doubts that kind of plague his mind a little bit. And I mean, I felt that for sure. There's a buddy of mine from college that I'm very close with that I still occasionally will like sit here with Allie or by myself and just think through the interaction. Like I need to do that still. Like we're buddies. Like we've been buddies for years. Like he invited me to his bachelor party. Like, we're obviously very close. But yet I still, for some reason, and I think because of how I felt about that friend group in college, I still kind of project that upon him sometimes and think, oh, maybe we're not as close as I think we are, and it's just like self-doubt, sort of thing.
like self-doubt. You're like,
King,
am I on the fringe of his friendship or not? And it's like that self-doubt's the only thing that is spoiling any bit of it,
For sure. Yeah. And I think Ice King struggles with this still, and he probably will for a while. Like, I don't think that's easy to get over right away, but I loved that. I just love that he was making confetti out of all the mail. Because so like, why is anyone sending him mail anyways? Like in this weird post-apocalyptic world that is Adventure Time, where you have like, what is it like? Projection technology and crap, where I don't know. I just feel like snail mail seems a little old fashioned for where we're at with Adventure Time. But,
like what kind of marketing agencies are sending out snail mail coupons and pre-approved credit cards in the Adventure Time universe? But it's funny. I like how they threw that joke in there just specifically because it becomes relatable, and it's just like I'm a big open mail, throw it away if it's trash. Like Jackie, if she does it, and I think she does it because she knows that I will look through things. And I'm like, and she's like, oh, there's like nothing important there. And I like flip through and I'm like, dude, actually, like this is a big important letter from like the bank or like from, we need to open this one. And then she'll be like, oh, I thought I wanted you, there looked like there was some important stuff in there. And then that week it'll be like, no, this is like 14 credit card approvals. Like, it's not important.
Some coupons from Aldi's, which like I haven't been to Aldi's in years.
Aldi's nuts.
Oh, geez.
Oh, no.
You went there.
I went there. Oh, no. Well, I liked
off the rails.
I liked that. I called it, there was the 5-prong approach of party ruining. And first of all, he sends in the sourpusses and party poopers, which I thought was hilarious, just in the sense that he feeds all of these rabbits lasagna, so they'll just shit all over the party.
Actually, I believe it's pronounced lasagna.
Lasagna.
Yeah, and I actually had that for lunch today, just on theme with this episode.
On theme, dude.
Had some leftover lasagna for lunch. It was mighty tasty.
Now, you're gonna have some major poops later, apparently.
We're gonna have some major poops later. I mean, I'll say about the kitties. The kitties are adorable. I thought it was so funny the way he's like, "This is how owls hunt," and he just has a giant butterfly net, and he captures all these critters in the woods. But he lets the kitties go in the party, and they just got lemons strapped to them, and then it ends up being like perfect, right? LSP's just like, oh, I guess I don't have to go on this lemon run that I was going to do anyways later on. And Jake's like pissed off about it or something, and Finn's like, don't you love lemon in your iced tea, man? Like, come on, this is awesome.
A fun callback with the cats, though, specifically, is that they were like, actually, these cats may be wizards that were turned into cats during Wizard Battle.
Gosh, yeah.
That's like that. There might be so many feral cats out in the woods because these are all the wizards that got turned into cats.
Gosh, I was wondering why there was so many feral cats.
I was too. I was like, rabbits make sense. Like rabbits in the woods makes sense, but I was like, there's a lot of cats out here that he's catching up with a net, and I'm like, those are the wizards, man.
That's dang good, man. That's such a good point. But then I thought it was interesting.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go in the phase 2 because I have a theoretically speaking about it.
Yeah, because phase 2 is okay. I'm going to send down Princess Gunther to throw punch on everybody. And I think that might have been my tops of the episode was Gunther has a taser. He's not going to let anybody fuck with them because he's got this taser strapped all the time, like ready to go.
Good for him, because freaking Ice King's been like picking on him and making him do crap for forever. I'm so glad Gunther, who is without a doubt my lovely of this episode. He's a sweetie. I mean,
all right. It was darn close for me. He was my runner-up lovely, but mine was a sneakier lovely of the episode, and I would call this character the Marshmallow Butler. So the little tiny Marshmallow Butler that was on the table of the potluck, like helping.
Oh, I know.
Serve all the food. Yeah,
I know. He's my sexy character of this episode.
Oh, sexy Marshmallow Butler character of this epised. I like it.
I do think Gunther is a little more involved. He's just like making lasagna. Lasagna. He's super happy to do that. Somehow and it was that same scene. He glides through the air, which I'm pretty sure. Can penguins glide, dude? I don't know. If that's even a thing?
There's no way. If you go watch when they pop out of the water, it kind of looks
but that's not
flighty,
gliding. That's just
gliding.
them having enough speed to project themselves out of the water. But I love that, like Ice King again, and his Ice King wizard madness is just like, you know what I can do with Gunther? I can just throw him out this window and push some air, like some snowy air behind him, and he'll just fly all the way down to the party and totally be unharmed. Like very cartoony. But it was very fun, and I was just like, man, Gunther is just so good. The taser won me over, though. Truly,
yeah. The taser, he's strapped up, like he's ready to go. He's not going to get messed with anymore. So I loved that aspect of it. And then again, like loves that he just like again comes into the party and he's just ready to dance.
Oh yeah.
It's very on. Like they keep weirdly, although Gunther has no lines and doesn't talk, and he's been around since season 1. It's like he just stays really consistent. Just with the character written. I like that too.
Well, this is actually my theoretically speaking. It doesn't have to do with Gunther. Actually, I was thinking part 2 being the party poopers, the rabbits that he got, and he had them eating a whole bunch of lasagna and stuff like that. It gets a little dark in my theoretically speaking, and maybe a little extreme, but I'm pretty sure, or at least I'm going to theoretically say that I think the Ice King totally killed all those rabbits by feeding them lasagna or just suffocating them in his sack. Because one, I looked up what is toxic to a rabbit? Like what can they not eat? Just like dogs or whatever. Okay. Well, on this big list, I mean, it was a pretty surprisingly large list. And this is like different degrees of toxic for them, right? But on that list are raw onions, leeks, garlic. You got to have garlic and lasagna. I can't even say lasagna now. I'm going to say lasagna for forever. And then meat. Apparently meat, eggs, dairy, not good. Again, all of that I'm pretty sure goes into lasagna.
If you're doing a good lasagna, all that should be in there.
Mushrooms, processed foods, bread, pasta, dog. He killed these rabbits.
So that's why they didn't even come out of the bag at all.
No,
is that
the bag doesn't even shake? He leaves it open and there's no movement. So the bag is completely still.
So the dark joke is that they pooped in the bag too much. But
maybe they pooped themselves to death. Maybe
the darker side is that they pooped themselves to death.
Well, because he shrieks, right? He goes, "Oh, Gulab, so much lasagna," and I'm just like, dude, no, that sack's not moving. Those things are dead.
That's dark.
It's over.
It is dark. Unless they just packed up the bag full of poops first, but that wouldn't make as much sense if he was trying to send the animals in there. So that is a little odd. Well,
he was
for sure.
He was hoping they would do the classic like movie, like a whole bunch of birds eat like something that a laxative or whatever and poop on everything. Like that's what he wanted to happen with those rabbits. But anyways, enough with the dark, but that's my theoretically speaking, and I believe it to be true. It could be house canon for me even. I'll go that
I think
far.
That's a good house canon. We'll say that Ice King accidentally killed all the forest rabbits.
But it doesn't seem uncharacteristic of him though. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem uncharacteristic. That's true. But phase 3 now he kind of has a moment. He's like, I don't have to actually try very hard. I can just call the cops on him. So his phase 3 is
there ought to be a law
on him. And that's where one of my lessons of today's episode. I had no deep lessons on this one. This just in general. Like obviously this is not a deep episode, but one of my things is that if you want to have a good phone prank call, you got to wear a lot of hats. So I love that part. Is just like he creates this all of a sudden like 6-person narrative, and he's just running around the room putting on all the hats.
Yeah. I mean, it may be, I mean, it's not my tops for the episode, but it's probably the best part of the episode just in general. Like, it's solid 2 or 3 minutes of very funny entertainment. It's just him going back and forth. I mean, like we said at the beginning of this episode, like, I loved when the banana guards were like, dude, we hate you. Just
dude, we hate
hang
you.
up on him. And then he does that whole scene. I mean, he's like, what? How many characters does he play? It's Mrs. Gramblington, the husband,
Ted Gramblington, the pizza guy,
Johnny the pizza boy, who apparently needs exact change or at least close enough to it. So then,
and Ted Gramblington's brother.
Yeah, Ted Gramblington's brother has to be a part of it as well. And the banana guy is just like, oh, we'll take care of it at that point.
He's like, stop, we'll just send people. And that's what I'm saying. They probably know it's Ice King, but they're like, dude, just please stop.
Yeah, and they end up just partying. It doesn't end up working at all. They just end up partying with everybody else.
I know. And then the last ditch, phase 4, before phase 5 is just him blowing it all up, going back to what is traditionally season 1 Ice King. Let me just like throw down big old ice to like ruin the party. But phase 4 of it all is throw my own ice party right next to them and make them super jealous. And his like weird, like almost not sentient snowman, like, and other
much
Gunther.
Worse than when the Holly Jolly Secrets part 1, right? Like those snowmen, or maybe it was part 2, but those snowmen were way more viable, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
there hasn't been anything though. I think everything in the Ice King that we've seen that's a little bit more like self-sustaining is something that comes about naturally, like the snow golem. Like that's not the Ice King magic. That's normal adventure.
But I do magic. Think the snowmen that were like attacking the cabin, right? Like they seemed way more capable of anything than these snowmen. Yeah. I don't know. Like maybe he's distracted. He's just so fraught that like, why aren't I invited to this party? I just want to hang out with these guys. With my on again, off again GF. Princess Bubblegum and my Road Dogs for Life. And so his magic's distracted. So he makes his poorly
like the little bit like not as
snowman.
With it snowman. Yeah. Like when he's a little bit crazier, like the more crazy he is, because he's not as again like crazy until the end of the episode when he can throw down like 20-foot ice beam. So maybe his wizard, when he's getting a little bit more sane, maybe his wizarding powers or ice powers are like less strong, and he has to be more like crazy and mad for them to be more powerful,
a little more serious. I think he's just like not trying to cause harm anymore, unless he does get very emotionally caught up in the moment. But he definitely spared no expense for his own little party. I mean,
some grapes,
a grape medley, and then what was it? A whole bunch of stack of enriched flour tortillas.
Yes, and I love that comes back at the end, and Finn's trying to make a nice sock shoe out of the enriched tortillas.
Which, dude, his callus. Ned, I felt for him. I really did feel for him.
I was going to ask you, have you ever had a incident with a blister specifically that's like, you're like, oh, I would be having a good time or a good day, but like literally I can't not just like be limping on this blister right now.
Oh yeah. The moment is weddings. I feel like weddings are the like perfect situation, is a perfect storm for blisters on your not your fingers, but on your toes. I was going to do a Beatles reference, but it's
blisters on my fingers.
I got blisters on my fingers, but no. So weddings, unfortunately, you're in shoes that you've probably worn once, maybe twice in your entire life, right? I mean, they're usually brand new shoes. Like you take them out of the shoe box that are still in your closet, or maybe that's just me. That's what I do. I've got a shoe box of like my nicest shoes.
It's there. I trust me. I think everybody can relate to either the wedding that you had to rent the specific suit and rent the shoes. I think renting shoes is the dumbest shit to do for weddings.
I've never done that.
No, it's so stupid. And tuxedos too. You like, you rent shoes with it, and I'm like, just let me wear black shoes, dude. No one cares. Like, come on.
No one cares what your shoes look like. But so in this, I'm thinking of one specific wedding, but this happens all the time because again, perfect situation. You've got practically brand new shoes on that aren't worn in, and they're leather, and you're just like dancing your butt off for hours, right? So last wedding I went to was down in Atlanta, and after the rehearsal dinner, my heel of my shoe like came unglued or whatever, like totally snapped off.
Totally off.
So I go, okay, what are we doing Saturday? I guess we're spending all of Saturday trying to find new shoes for this
that sucks,
wedding.
Yeah.
So I went to the wedding Saturday night with brand new shoes on, and I ended up getting a minor blister. And it should be known that we were dancing a lot because I love dancing, and so does Allie. But Allie is actually the one that had it worse than me. She also was wearing new shoes, and she lost half her toenail, dude.
Jeez,
we had to keep sitting down, and she gave me permission to talk about this. She wasn't foot nude, though. Maybe she was foot nude because she was probably in some sort of a shoe that didn't need a sock, like a sandal sort of a thing, but with a heel, But anyways, yeah, when we were just dancing so much, and she was just like, "I got to sit down," like every 5-10 minutes, and we didn't think anything of it until like the next day. She's like, half my toenail fell off.
Jeez,
that's crazy.
That's brutal. I feel for girls because I get it. The shoes are important. They can make the outfit. But like, especially at the weddings, I'm like, if you know that you want to get up and dance a lot, like, either have a backup or like make your outfit to where it's like you're not gonna kill yourself on new shoes. Like, I feel like Jackie's just used to like blisters now. She loves like new shoes for weddings, or like, doing up an old dress with new shoes.
Are you going to say she loves blisters? Like, she's all
she
about
gets them all, like almost every like fancy event, whether it's weddings, whether it's like a dinner thing, like she always ends up with a blister like afterwards. And I'm like, well, we just got to like either get you better shoes or just get you way better prepared for like nice evenings out or something like that. But
but it's the perfect situation. I get it. I mean, we all fall for it. Certainly, and I've had plenty of blister on my foot after a wedding, but it doesn't normally happen outside of. I feel like that's the only situation that I can think of where I end up with blisters. Maybe like the first time you run with running shoes, if you go too far, it can happen. Like exercising and brand new exercising shoes of some sort.
I'd say it's happened there, whatever. And it's happened if you've ever done anything like outside for like a camping overnight, and your socks just get a little wet, and then you have to walk around in wet socks. That'll get you good too. So,
well, I'm so glad you brought up the Bimo Noir crossover, because I could not understand why Finn didn't have a sock on his foot for the life of me. He should have just gone barefoot. They're just walking through grass. Like, that's
what I was going to say. Another one of my lessons is just like, when it comes down to it, just go barefoot. Like, when the rubber meets the road.
Jake could easily carry him. Maybe that's the Jake mistake of this episode, is that Jake's not being a good enough bro. I don't know. But he's got his makeup on. He doesn't want to mess up his makeup. So I guess I understand that.
I think that was a lesson or one of those Jake subtleties of like, you got to figure out what to do. Like, you're an adventurer. Like, figure out what to do when you're missing a sock. Like,
dude, Jake's makeup's great though. I thought it was really funny that even Princess Bubblegum was like, "Oh, you look beautiful." he's got a target on his face, and Finn, it was really a spiral, I guess, more than anything. But Finn notices it and says something about it. But Jake's like, he's feeling himself, and I guess that's the lesson, is like, do what makes you feel yourself.
Yeah, when you're going to a party specifically, do what makes you feel it. Like, gets you feeling you.
Yeah,
feeling right, feeling right.
For Jake.
Get it right, get it tight.
Get it right, get it tight. I mean, Gunter did it too, right? Gunter dresses up as a princess with a little bottle cap crown.
And he was feeling himself, yeah.
Dude, I mean, he was about to throw some fruit punch on top of somebody, and then he got hyped up by everybody else at the party. And Gunter's just like, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. I'm dancing. I'm getting my groove on. Finn, don't touch my freaking dress. I know it's made out of socks and you need a sock real bad.
Yeah, that'd be. I'd call that the Gunther mistake of the episode. Is I was like, you could have spared a sock, dude, at least.
No, I think he saved Finn's life. This is another, theoretically speaking. Those socks, especially being Ice King socks, we've seen his laundry before.
He might have
covered in spaghetti and stuff like that. The bacteria that was in those socks, like, combined with that terrible bleeding, like gushing blister that Finn had, dude, completely infected. He had been
cooking up
completely infected. Yeah, he would have lost another limb.
Yeah,
not that he loses a limb.
Yeah, he's like, it's like, yeah, we've got an arm left to lose. We don't need to also lose a foot. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's good. It's good, dude. It's such a good episode. I would say that's.
I don't want to talk too much else about the episode. It's a fun one. It's a short one. It's a great callback again. I love that it was a callback to season 1. And then even in the credits scene when the episode ends, we do get our drawings of James Baxter, who is next week's episode. And it was, I think, James Baxter in terms of animation. We'll get into it next week. There's probably some stuff about the animated style of James Baxter. So I think it's cool. I think it's calling out that they're digging back into the vault in season 5 to kind of pull out some like cool old stuff from storyboards and pitches from season 1.
I was so curious what was going on with this Stanton horse guy. He seemed really fun.
It's going to be next week, and it's James Baxter. It's one of the like, I'd say like crowd favorite episodes.
Okay.
And then there's this is the introduction of James Baxter, and then we have the rise and fall of James Baxter comes at a later episode.
Is he a circus horse? Like what's the deal with
There's a backstory. Okay. I don't want to spoil it either. There will be a learned backstory of James Baxter.
Well, maybe I'll have to. I might have to do an NEA Reacts, which is what we release sometimes for the Patreon as part of the like NEA and Beyond podcast.
I would
maybe I'll do a NEA Reacts for this one.
I'd save your NEA Reacts for our the second James Baxter episode, because I'd rather have your kind of like you've got this character that you now love, and then you kind of get his like
I could do both.
It's a hero arc, but like not necessarily a villain arc, but like a little bit more of like the hero's journey arc of how he becomes.
We'll see. If we need an NEA and Beyond, I'll do it. But if we're caught up with NEA and Beyond, I won't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of other segments that we do have a traveler's log for the day. It's a very simple one. And I wanted to just like kind of hit it because it's going to prep us a little bit later. And that's really cool. Again, just tying things all together between seasons and episodes is we have a traveler's log from DJ Breakfast Sandwich or DJ Beefist Sandwich. I'm going to call it DJ Breakfast Sandwich though.
Okay. I like that.
DJ Breakfast Sandwich is re-listening to season 4 recap and your talk about the willfully captive tapestry in the final episode, the one that's hanging in Billy's lair. And wanted to bring up the point that I thought about. I will try to avoid major spoilers, but essentially the idea that Finn is willfully captive in his reality as it was semi-proposed in one of the Orgolorg episodes. Thought that it was interesting that they mentioned this idea early in the show, and when it comes up later with the idea of past lives and the Catalyst comment as well. Just something to add on to one of those episodes as it comes up in season 5 and 6. So that I wanted to read that one too, because for Russell, he kind of knows. We've talked about Orgolorg, we've talked about Catalyst comments, we've talked about reincarnation stuff without it being like spoilers. So to kind of be looking through that and then to remember back to the willfully captive tapestry with the unicorn and everything. Okay. But DJ Breakfast Sandwich wraps it up and says, excited to hear more from season 5. I hope y'all are having fun with the recording of some of the deeper episode, season 5, Zan, Fiona, and Cake. Side note, will the commercials ever come back? Our advertisements? Like I said, I've been re-listening and forgot how funky those were to hear mid-episode. Just wondering, no pressure.
I've always loved the advertisements. Simply the idea of taking a product from the show and making a very random feeling. If you don't know the episode very well, like the advertisement about it. But
yeah,
I think we thought by this point we would have actual advertisements on the podcast.
We did them as like placeholders. We did it to kind of like make it feel podcasty. I think with season 5, and I think specifically with Fiona and Kate, because we started getting into some like, I don't want to just hold on to deep thoughts until after the advertisement. That's where I was kind of like, let's just let the conversation flow. We had a few episodes, I think at the end of season 4, where I was like, we got a lot to talk about. Let's flow. If we get a weird upset in the middle, we'll cut to a advertisement. Yeah. And then we started switching it out and doing kind of a Rex recommendations at the end of the episode.
And I tried to do some skits at the beginning too. I think I've gone heavier into skits at the beginning of the episodes, but also, if I'm being honest, Ned, the AI creation of advertisements may have thrown me off on my desire to continue to do the advertisements a little bit.
It's tough, guys. I mean, it's
hard
kind of
to
like
make
writing a 1 or 2 minute SNL skit for every episode.
And then we have no voices. We suck at voice acting.
We suck at voices. So it's kind of, that was one of those things where I was like, gosh, if we're doing a double episode, I'm going to have to spend like another 30 minutes trying to like write up a bit about things. So it just became a little bit more arduous than it was fun.
I was spending way too much time trying to come up with like the right writing, like how I wanted to sound doing it and stuff. And then we would do a couple of different takes. It was the only thing on this podcast that we really spent time doing multiple takes of. Usually this is just like, we're just going, flowing best we can, trying not to like, say too many times or whatever. But with the advertisements, we would try to perfect them to some degree, and then Ned would go,
"You more than me." Too.
I just wanted them to be good. I just
take 5, take 6. Like, and I was like, "Hey, we gotta tell Michael, who's editing, DJ Cowboy Hat edits our
we
podcast."
Say that, though.
And
we say that, you go back and listen to it, it's like they spent that much time on this. These are terrible.
Exactly. That's why I think we kind of sunsetted them a little bit. So.
Maybe we'll
DJ
go back
Breakfast
one day.
Sandwich, I'm glad that you appreciated them. Maybe we'll sneak some in, but I don't think it will become part of the regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah. Maybe we'll come back to it at some point. But
I don't have any lessons. I said I kind of snuck them into the episode, but I don't have anything as a typical DJ Netty P like deep lesson of the episode. Yeah.
I could go a little deep here, but I'm not going to go very long. I think it's pretty simple to say that it's easy to see what other people are doing. We've talked about this on the podcast, so I don't want to like hark into it too much, and feel jealous that you're not a part of it, right? So like FOMO, I think it's seriously like extremely heightened nowadays because of social media and has been for the past 10 years or whatever. Really, I mean, maybe since the MySpace days, but really just with Instagram forward. I feel like that's when like FOMO really was kicked in the gear with social media because it's all about how cool you are, what you're doing, or look how beautiful this photo is, and I'm going to do these filters to make it look even better. And like I'm over here posting like butt pics and stuff, and like trying to be. And wasn't that a skit at some point? I can't remember if we did posting a bit where I was like starting OnlyFans on this podcast. I don't know.
I don't even remember.
Never gonna
that.
happen. Didn't happen. This is all. I thought it was a bit from forever ago. It may have been. Regardless, social media is just so like fake, right? And essentially, my lesson is, and for Ice King, and this is why I'm writing about this because I think this is an Ice King like episode. This is about him. This is about how he feels, how he wants to fit in with this group, and he has been accepted by it, but he's still like maybe accepting that in his own mind, right? So. I'm going to say the lesson is to focus on people that equally focus on you. And I think Ice King's at the point where they do focus on him. Like Marceline's inviting him around to play music with her and stuff like that. Right?
And Prince Bubblegum actively, sent him the invite.
They did send him an invite. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And we didn't see Princess Bubblegum and Ice King get on better terms, especially since the Lich episode, which I think I had, the not math segment that's never returned, where I was like pissed off at Ice King or whatever, but clearly they're on better terms. And she must have been informed about how things are going by Finn and Jake.
They probably were like, hey, you need to like invite Simon to stuff.
Yeah, totally. And I'm sure she's aware of his backstory even more so now if she wasn't already kind of aware of Simon. So I think it's great. I think he's doing a good job, and I think that's something that I want to focus on too, and be to the point of what I was saying earlier in the episode about my buddy, like accept the love when it comes, and not get like in your head about like, well, was it sincere or whatever?
Yeah, because I was going to say that's to simply put it, like the more you victimize yourself as the fringe guy, the more you make that your own reality. You almost like manifest your own worries. And then you like inevitably do become the fringe guy because everybody's like, why is it so like hard to invite somebody? And it's like, because you like every time if you get in your head about it, then people will start like noticing like, why are you just like so weird? about being invited to functions or being invited on group chats or like whatever like that too. So it's all like, getting out of that like, what do you call it? Like circular conversation, circular self-destruction in your head like that too. Yeah.
And maybe be careful with going freak nasty on it. You know, like that's what Ice King's doing in this episode. And it's looking real. It was rough to watch. And I don't understand why Adventure Time is, and this is why I thought it was a bit, was because Adventure Time is so obsessed with butt jokes and like, look at this butt move and that sort of a thing. Or at least it was in the early seasons. And so this is another moment where I'm just like, I don't really want to see Ice King's butt jiggle like that.
It was very, very rumptious, very robust.
I can't remember what that like death volleyball game is, right? Where they had jiggle physics. But for some reason, this episode, there's jiggle physics on his butt moving a little bit. And that scene where he's throwing his own party.
One step too far. Oh, man. Well, this was a fun episode. Do you have any recommendations to wrap us up?
I do. I've got a great rec. It may be our greatest rec of all time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to recommend, and I experienced this earlier this morning when I first woke up, puppy cuddles.
Puppy Kittles. I don't know.
You got to try the brand new puppy food, Puppy Kittles. Puppy Cuddles. Yeah, dude. Our dog jumped up on the bed, and usually it's like he gets up on the bed, like sniffs you a little bit, then tries to just get like laying on top of you, and he knows I don't like it. So I think he tries to kick me out of the bed so I'll make his food or take him out or something.
Mm-hmm.
But he got up on the bed and he just laid down and just cuddled for like 45 minutes. Like he fell back asleep, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, what a way to wake up with
an
adorable dog.
But I've got two different types of puppy cuddles because that's actually, yes, in the morning time when both of my dogs want to wake us up, they actually get in different kind of positions where they lay, and it's more of a cuddle and like let's wake up together. And then sometimes they fall back asleep. But the other type is just going to bed. Griswold he's as a puppy, like they put them all in a tiny crate just as puppies, and they like slept on top of each other. And so he just sleeps like, he will put his shoulder over your leg, and that's his like comfy spot. And you'll kick him out and he'll slowly get back there again. I spend all night moving him in the bed.
Really?
And it's not like he doesn't have room. It's not like, and I just move him over 6 inches so I can have, and then he's just back up on my leg. So it's almost my anti-rec too, because I did not sleep well.
Yeah. You know, we do complain about, like, we try our hardest to keep Bankston on the bed at night. You know, like he is so sensitive at nighttime. Like he will get up. He wants to be in between me and Allie, so that we're not touching her. I'm not near her because she's vulnerable when she's sleeping or something. Like he's just very protective of her. And so, but as soon as you move, as soon as you roll over, as soon as you make any movement, he gets pissed off. He like lets out like a gust of air, you know, he's like, oh, and then gets off the bed and goes into his like kennel and like, that's
what Walk Street does. Walk Street, you move around 2 or 3 more times, he's like, I'm done. Like, leave me alone. I'm trying to sleep. But
we're just like, Bankston, no. And he's just like walks into his crate.
Yeah, I'm done. It's sleeping. He's like, I'm cuddling. I'm protective now. Like, I got to prioritize my sleep.
Yeah. Well, what's your rec? Do you have a better rec than puppy cuddles?
No, I don't know if I could call it better, but
it's not competitive. Not competitive.
They re-released the PS2 version of Star Wars Battlefront and Star Wars Battlefront 2.
I saw that
remastered for PlayStation 5. So absolute recommendation. I went back and played through the whole like Clone Wars campaign from the first Battlefront. And
did they adjust it at all? Did they like make it better in any way? Remaster
it feels like smoother. Like they didn't do like improved graphics or anything, but like the play style is a little bit smoother.
Runs way better.
Oh yeah, it's like you don't have to wait like like 30 seconds, 40 seconds between like battles. So it's like really fast. And it's fun. It was the first game I ever played that was like the whole like capture the command post, capture the flag, like war first person shooter game. So it's definitely fun after like getting into Call of Duty for a while and then going back to this and being like, and I played the newer Star Wars Battlefront games and they're just not that as good as this one. This one just hits different, you know?
Yeah, I liked that Star Wars Battlefront 2 like held your hand a little bit. Like it kind of auto aims a little bit. Like it does.
No, trust me, the aim assist on it is
nice.
very aggressive, which is fun.
Well,
Again,
for me,
it's way more fun
it.
to kill 65 battle droids and die 3 times than it is to kill one person and then die once. And like, it's
get
way more fun
by some dude that plays this game for 8 hours a day or something.
Exactly. So I like that. Yeah,
that's great.
It's just a fun campaign. So that's absolutely.
It's good rec.
If you need to go back and relive some glory PlayStation 2 days, it's a good. I think it's like $30 game. Not bad at all.
Okay. Man, I am back to gaming a little bit. As you know, I beat Zelda. It was fantastic. I couldn't recommend it more. The second, not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, so good. Breath of the Wild is also good, but I'm playing now Pikmin 4. I'm not deep enough into it yet to tell you how I feel about it, but it is. I do love reliving this like wonderful, weird post-apocalyptic world where you're collecting like bottle caps and crap, and you've got these little cute Pikmin guys with leaves on their heads, and they go and get stuff for you. So
you
like,
almost were describing Fallout 4 with the Fallout games, just collecting bottle caps, and that will be a recommendation when they release the show on Amazon or whatever.
It's pretty good. I'll keep you all updated if Pikmin 4 is worth it or not, but I'm enjoying it so far.
Good. I said always having just a good game in the back of your pocket at any one point in time is good. But
do you want to be my road dog for life and be one of my groomsmen? Can I ask you that on the podcast?
Yes, I will be. I will just be a groomsman.
Oh yeah. What if you said no on the podcast?
Then we may not be doing more podcasts then.
I don't know. It'd be awkward for the next couple episodes.
It'd be awkward for the next couple of. Yeah, we decided that we're going to talk, multiple hours a week, but we're just not really going to be friends anymore.
Yeah. It makes sense. You moved. And I was the reason for you moving too. So
yeah, that was 100% it too.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, you know that not only do I love you, DJ Rusty, I love all you guys out there.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, party forever, but be careful if you're going to any weddings. Like wear old shoes, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Wear old shoes. Forever. Don't be a sourpuss. Love you guys.